Okay.
So for everybody or anybody that somehow has been living under a rock and doesn't know who Arnauld Nakaha is, he is epic human, works in the Utah office at corporate. I would say like one of the figureheads of Beachbody, and just really embodies everything that Beachbody is. He is kind, intelligent, smart, compassionate, and he's your go-to guy, especially as you hit the Star Diamond and above ranks and really advance your business. And he's going to share wisdom tonight on how to end the year strong, I believe, and kind of give you some best tips and practices, especially from a different view. Like, he's not a coach, but he works with all the top coaches, so he sees the patterns as they emerge. So I'm really, really excited. Make sure you've got pen and paper, and I'm sure he'll be available for a couple questions after he says his piece.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you, Marie, for having me. It's good to see all of you. Every time I think about Marie Barker, I think about the full team, Boomerang Wellness, and what you guys, really mean to Marie, and what the team represents. It just takes me back to that Edmonton regional conference where Marie was one of the main speakers. She spoke on the panel discussion, and she essentially shared her goal. And first of all, before even speaking, she made mention of her team. And as I stumbled to name her team, she made mention of her team, and Brennan and a few others were in the audience. And so she always just sort of, gives credit to you guys. And I'm sure that you guys, give her a lot of credit for all the work that she does, seen and unseen, the long hours that she's put in. But it's for a reason, and, it's for you guys to get better, to continue reaching your goals, and whatever those goals are. Right. So I want to commend you for that. I want to thank you for sticking through all that, Marie. By the way, that goal that I shared, I still think about it, to this day. It's still something that I have, and I can share later, maybe at the end of this call, what that goal was for me. But as I thought about this call, we talk about the end of the year, the middle of the year, the beginning of the year. I think all those are just time lapses, just happens to be a time in the calendar. I think the way you approach that makes all the difference. And I'll give you an example to get started. I don't know how many of you have ever been at Disney or some sort of park. Think, any kind of park, attraction park. I'm sure you've got plenty of parks, where you are. And think about two different times, okay? I want you to think about a time, let's say maybe the middle of the week. Middle of the week, kids are at school, so, there's not that many people out in the park. It's fairly easy to get in. You don't need to wait too long for the whatever ride that you want to ride to open, because there's just no line, right? So think about that time. Then I want you to think about, let's say, evening time in the summer. The kids are out. How is that? Those two experiences going to be different, right? The second experience, obviously, if you've ever been at an attraction park, let's take the most extreme. Let's take Disneyland. You'd go to Disneyland or Disney World, in the summertime, it's crowded. There's just no space to move. It's hard enough to even get any food. Forget about trying to go on the most popular ride. You're going to wait at least 30 to 45 minutes, even with a fast pass, okay? So I want you to think about those two different times. And I want you to tell me, at which time are you going to be the most productive? Is it the evening in the summertime? Is it in the middle of the week? It's a rhetorical question. I mean, it's going to be in the middle of the week when you actually don't have any, nobody's there, and you can be productive. You can hit all these rides. You can go, eat all the ice cream you want. I know I'm talking to a bunch of fitness coaches, but you get my point, okay? You don't go to a park because you're going to eat a bunch of lettuce and carrots. You go to a park to have a good time. But you get my point. Here's what I'm trying to illustrate here. Every single one of you probably are like that latter example. Every single one of you is busy. Every single one of you have priorities. You have things that run in the way of your goals, in the way of your dreams, and you have to be smart with how you allocate your time. Because if you have, for instance, someone that is your success partner, let's say, or your coach, or maybe your significant other that is watching you build this business, if you were to go to them and judge your results based on your productivity, okay, during, taking, for instance, a time when you're so busy and can't get anything done, it's not going to be fair to you. You're judging your results based on not being very productive. What you need to create, you need to find space in your life, space in your busy life that will create the scenario of, number one, where you actually will have time. You might need to sacrifice something, where you might need to go in the middle of the weekend, not the weekend where you have to ask for time off. You have to do something different in order to create that type of space, right? And everybody hopefully understands where I'm going with this is, regardless whether it's the beginning, the middle of or the end of the year, the activities never change. What you do and when you do those activities is when it's going to change. So we have to adapt to that. So if you were to look at a calendar, for instance, for those of you, and I might be speaking to the wrong audience, or maybe speaking to a few of you, but let's say you have to go to school. Maybe there's some teachers, here. You had the summer. You had the 2 months where you could focus on your business. That, to me, is an instance where you create space in your life. And yes, you sacrifice going out, at the lake every single day, and you focus on your business. That's an instance of creating time. Let's say, you have kids. Now that kids are back to school, hopefully there's a bit more routine that is established that you can spend more time on, right? You have to basically create space, in your time to be able to build your business. What I'm not going to talk about is what to do. I'm pretty sure that Marie has covered that. She's covered exactly what to do, how to optimize your social media, all those things. I want to make sure that to share some examples and to remind you your value as a coach and what you uniquely represent as a coach and what people are attracted to every single one of you, whether it's Sandy or Amy or Carly or Courtney or Ash. Every single one of you have a specific sort of category of people that are going to be attracted to you, but they only get attracted to you if you're active, if you're sharing, if you're creating that space of time, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to talk about, you guys have probably heard us talk about consistency. I want to approach it from a different perspective, like a different angle, okay? So here's the angle. I was speaking to a coach the other day about Instagram and Instagram stories as an example. And I said, Instagram stories to me is your perfect example of being consistent but not boring, of being consistent but not spammy, okay? Because those stories disappear after every 24 hours. They're fun. You can get creative. You can do different things like that. Now, I relate consistency a lot to like farming, right? Because in farming, you have to be consistent. You've got to plant the seeds. You can't control the elements. You don't know if it's going to rain or snow, if there's going to be sunshine. You don't know, especially as we get into the fall, right? Like you just can't control the seasons. And so the way I relate to this is your job doesn't change. Your job is actually to not sign coaches. Let me repeat. Your job is actually to not sign coaches. The end of your job, the purpose of that is to then create new coaches, new customers, and all that. But your job is to share your message in a consistent manner. Because if you do that consistently, check this. You're planting the seeds, right? You're planting the seeds. You don't know when they're going to sprout. The thing that you can absolutely control is you can control the sort of the planting of the seeds, but you can't control the weather. Guess what? On the end, when you are planting a message, you're sharing a message, everybody watching your message, Morgan, if they're watching your message today and watching your message next week and watching your message maybe in a month, do you think that maybe something as minute as I don't know, maybe a kid going to school, or as extreme as just discovering that they've got pre-diabetes, do you think that stuff happens in people's lives? Absolutely. Stuff happens all the time, right? And the season that they capture your message in. So let's say you're sharing about your fitness group, for instance, just this week. Okay, the message, like, let's say this is me. I'm the prospect. I'm the person that is interested, or just a friend that is following you, Morgan. Okay, so you're talking about, if let's say a fitness message or something like that. And today, you know what? I've had a long day at work, and I'm seeing you, and you're smiling, and I'm going, oh, Morgan, there she goes again. She's smiling in her videos. She's taking all these sweaty selfies like it's a badge of honor. Like, she makes me feel bad about myself. You know what? Give me the chips. Turn the NFL on. I'm going to watch some football. That's today. The end of this week, I'm playing with my kid, and I can't keep up with my kid. I'm overweight. I've got 50 pounds to lose, and my boy is running up and down, and I just can't keep up, right? And I start asking myself the question of, man, is this it? Like, I'm in my late 30s and I can't keep up with my kid. Like, I can't keep up with him, right? Next week, I happen to be on Instagram again, and Morgan's this time talks about some boot camp she's got, right? Like, okay, so remember, two things have happened. I've seen Morgan post about her sweaty selfies. I've played with my kid, right, and could barely keep up with him. And now I'm seeing, the third thing is I'm seeing Morgan talk about a boot camp. Do you think that maybe I've switched a little bit? Do you think that the season that Morgan finds me in when she posts about her boot camp, maybe it's a little bit different? Maybe I'm a bit more open to listening because of an experience that I've had? That's the power of consistency. If Morgan doesn't post about her boot camp on Monday, like a week after, if she doesn't post about that, or if she doesn't share some kind of message, if she doesn't plant some kind of seed, if Morgan goes and I look at Morgan's account, either A, nothing was posted, or B, you're talking about gardening, I'm going to be like, okay, well, that was a flash in the pan. She's really not serious about this. Whereas if you're just consistently finding creative ways of sharing that, do you see how that could completely change? And you could also capture people in the right seasons. Can I get an amen on a Tuesday? All right. So this is the stuff that you need to share, because sometimes when you say just consistency, you're like, I get it, but it feels like I'm hitting my head against the wall. No, people are watching you. And you have to be consistent enough to catch them in the right seasons. You can plant the seed. You can control that. You cannot control the season, but you can absolutely control the consistency, the creativity that you bring to planting that seed, right? So this is how you have to approach it, guys. Like, you have to approach it as, hey, my job is to just focus on just planting the seed. Now, let's talk about this season where we're at. Okay, this is where maybe you can be creative, or maybe you can, sort of speak to people's goals and dreams. We all know there's millions of people that set up New Year's resolutions. And we all know that kids just went back to school, right? Maybe that's not your audience. Find something, right? It feels like I'm speaking to, a lot of people that probably do not have kids. So I'm going to have to change. But understand where I'm going with this is, regardless of your audience, there's a lot of people that set up goals, that have dreams, that set them up like December 31st. It feels like just yesterday. Marie was just talking about it. It feels like it was just all, now we're September, right? They set up these goals not because they didn't care about them, because they truly, somewhere deep down within them, they want to make them happen, right? And so guess where you come in? You come in with the consistency. Guess what? I've just set up a group of 10 of us, right? 10 of us that are really are about to just push through the end of the year and not have to set up New Year's resolutions. Like, get creative with that, right? Are you one of those people that set up a New Year's resolution? Share pictures and stories of yourself when you were setting up those New Year's resolution and not doing a dang thing about them. Right? Because people want someone that is not perfect. They want someone that is vulnerable, someone that is struggling, someone that is going to show the things that did not work for them, but somehow found a solution. Does that make sense? It's like when you think about Hollywood, it would be terrible if you walk into a movie, well, except like maybe Tom Cruise movies. We all know how those movies end. But if you walked into a movie and you're like, oh, I already know how it's going to end, like, right? Like, it's not fun. Like, give me something, like, create some suspense. Like, if you show me, like, look at me and I'm perfect, I'm going to go, well, you're not going to be able to connect with me. Show me your imperfection. Show me the beginning. Show me the things that you struggle with, or maybe show me the things that you're struggling with, so that I'm going to feel like I'm not speaking to some fitness trainer or boot camp, trainer that's just going to be shouting at me and not supportive of the condition that I'm in or the situation that I'm in that will help push me along, right? So get back to that. Get back to that. At the end of the day, every single one of you have a good excuse. Capture this, okay? Pay attention. Every single one of you have a good excuse not to do anything at all. You have an excuse to just sit back and not do anything, to just sit back. Okay, so here's what I want to share a story. Story time, guys, all right? So here's what I want to share. There's a coach, and I've been with Beachbody for a while now, but I remember it was 2012. It was the spring of 2012, and this coach, we had a training. It was like Frankenmuth, Michigan, middle of nowhere. We're doing this training. The training already started, and this coach comes like maybe 10, 15 minutes late and comes to the very front. It was a small room, so anybody that moved, anybody that sneezed, anybody that literally just whispered anything, you would hear it. So this coach comes in. So I want to share a quick picture, okay, of this coach that comes in. So let me share my screen here. And you guys might have heard this story before. It's Sherry Strang, okay? So Sherry Strang here. Sherry Strang, okay, and this is her in the middle, okay? She's with all of us there. You might recognize Jeff Hill, myself, Jason Diebel, Jeffrey Armbruster. She was right there. This was after the meeting. Now, Sherry Strang, she's really not that short. Sherry Strang is actually in a wheelchair, okay? Phenomenal person. This is at Summit. We're actually celebrating a pretty big milestone that she hit. She's with Carl here, Sagi. She's with Tony here, okay? So Sherry's story is interesting because, and I call it Start With Why. And the reason why I call it Start With Why is because you truly need to dig deep in you, because we're not in that situation. You don't need to have something drastic happen to you in order for you to be motivated, okay? In her case, she happened to, at the end of this event and before we took that group picture with Jeff and everybody else, she said, you watch me. You might see me in this wheelchair. I'm going to impress you. I'm going to be a Success Club All-Star. That was her goal. She just wanted to make sure that she hit Success Club 5, that she's consistent, that she moves her business. And for her why was to prove to other people that she's more than this person in a wheelchair. That was her why. She wanted to make sure that she lets people know that this disability that she has does not stop her from using her ability, okay, to just share a message that helped her tremendously. She happened to be paralyzed on the left side, literally her left side down to her leg, had multiple surgeries. And lo and behold, that picture that you see at Summit, where I'm there with her friend and then she's with Carl, it was the Summit after that she had hit and was recognized on stage as a Success Club All-Star. And she had done it for 12 months. And now it's a tradition. Every time I see her, she tells me how and what she's doing to get there. And let me tell you this. What you see there, okay, is just a glimpse of what she goes through, okay? Many times she'll hit, the end of the month without like at SC2, for instance, right? And she'll find a way, somehow, some way, to finish at Success Club 5. For most of those months, she's been at Success Club 10. Most of those months. A few months she had to hit SC5. One particular month, she said, listen, it was literally like the end of the month. And I had nurses and doctors around me. And she had to go in for a procedure. And guess who were her customers? You guessed it. The nurses and the doctors around her signed up as challengers, because where there's a will, there's a way, right? I mean, it's like as cliche as it gets, but she literally made it happen. You met her on the Summit floor. That's right. She was pissed at this Summit, pardon my French, because there was no ramp. She really wanted to be up there, but she made sure that she stopped me and told me, you need to understand, I'm a Success Club 10 legend now. She's now done it for like, I think 36 months or 48 months, right? So to me, the reason why I illustrate that is I do want to make you uncomfortable a little bit. Here's the reason why. The reason why is that I believe most of us are just comfortable. We are. We're comfortable where we're at. We're comfortable just kind of, going through our lives, doing what we do, comfortable going through our routines. All those are things that, that are good, right? It's not, I don't want to fault any of us for doing that. But if we want to ever do something extraordinary, then we need to understand that comfort is the enemy of success. Comfort is the enemy of success. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is really not get out of your comfort zone. What I'm going to ask you to do is just get back and share a goal and have a goal that makes you uncomfortable, okay? Have a goal that makes you uncomfortable. And guess what? I'm going to ask you guys. It's cute. Marie was like, yeah, you can unmute yourself and ask questions. Well, I don't want to have the awkward silence. I want you to think about a goal that makes you uncomfortable to speak. Because this is a safe environment, for one, and this is an environment of people that want to see you succeed, right? It could be being an SE5 legend. That might make you uncomfortable. It could be, paying for your dream vacation that you haven't gone on for a while. It could make you uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be a rent goal. It doesn't have to be an income goal. It could be an experience. I want you to share that on this call because it's important to reignite that passion. Because if we just talk about, well, I want, to increase my volume by X% and move to this, that just does not move you. It's like working your tail off all year and you get a 2 to 3% raise. We don't want to create that environment. We want to create an environment where you're free to dream. You're free to dream, but you're okay also being held accountable to those dreams because it's for you, right? Because you want to make it happen. Right? At the end of the day, the most important thing that I look at is that when I put my head down at night, do I know unequivocally that what you do, that what I do makes a difference? Absolutely. When I hear of stories like Sherry Strang and her life completely transformed, absolutely. Do I believe in capitalism and you guys being paid for the hard work that you do? Absolutely. Because the work that you do is extremely important. And to me, and it's very clear to me, that is beyond the fitness, is beyond the weight. It's just generations of people, that are changed. It's just generations of people that are changed. And it's going to take someone challenging the status quo. And it happens to be you. And I want to thank you for your courage to do that. I want to recognize you for doing that. I want to pull you up in those moments where you feel down. And I want to encourage you to not only dream big, but then also establish a structure within which you can prosper, a structure in which you can be held accountable. You know what to do, okay? Again, Maria has told you what to do. You've had webinars. You can go on YouTube right now and you'll know exactly what to do, okay? But ultimately, that you take massive action, towards your goals, because nobody else is going to be there to hand you a great life on a silver platter. Besides that, it's not going to be as fun to just be handed anything. You know what I mean? Like when you work for something and you know that the journey there was hard, that victory is going to be super sweet, right? Now, you guys have just accomplished something incredible. You're a 5-star team. I do want to recognize you for that. It takes every single one of you to make it happen. I want to give you kudos. I want to recognize you for that because it takes a whole team, doesn't it? It takes a whole team to make this happen. That proves to me that it's possible for you guys as well. Because if Marie did it, then every single one of you can do it, right? If we're able to do that, okay? So I see we have 9 minutes. I do want to pause, and I'm just going to ask each, one at a time, because asking for volunteers is like herding cats. So I'm just going to ask you, got one guys that one of you at a time. Okay, what is your, so let me rephrase this. Because we've got 9 minutes, we don't want to spend 5 minutes talking about it. So number one, what is your big dream, right? What is something that scares you even saying it, but say it, okay? What is your dream? What is it that you want to do? Then number two, because dreams don't come by themselves, sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice to make that happen, okay? What are you willing to sacrifice? Is it waking up early? Is it sleeping late? Is it no more golf, no more bowling league? I don't know whatever it is for you, right, Brandon? You got to give up that bowling league. So, so why don't I start with Morgan, and then we'll go to Carly next. Morgan, then Carly.
Yes, he is. Be quiet. Sorry, that was my son. So I guess my goal is to be able to attend Leadership Summit next year and get to Diamond.
Awesome. Fantastic. Yeah. What are you willing to sacrifice?
Oh, it's a really good question. I just need to be consistent at this point, and I need to share my story a lot more and invite a lot more. So I need to reach out to people, and that is out of my comfort zone, and I know that. So that is what I need to do.
One more question. Who's holding you accountable to that, Morgan? And do you give Marie or whoever your success partner permission to hold you accountable to that?
Yes, I give my coach permission to keep me accountable for that one.
Awesome. I assume that's Carly. All right, Morgan. Thank you very much. Carly, you're next, and then we'll go to Courtney after that.
Sweet. I would love to walk the stage. My ultimate dream goal is to walk the stage as a millionaire. And also my recent goal is to attend leadership as a 2-star diamond coach in February.
And NLC.
Yes. I'm going to sacrifice my binge watching of Netflix and getting up earlier in the mornings and starting my morning routine a lot earlier.
Outstanding. Awesome. Thank you, Carly. I appreciate you. And cannot wait to see you in February. Let's go to Courtney and Sandy after that.
Hi. So my goals are Success Club 10 All-Star. I'm almost at Success Club 5 All-Star, so that one's my next big goal, as well as 2-star Diamond and a leadership conference. For sacrifice, I'm going to stop picking up as much overtime. I'm a nurse, so give myself more time to work my business instead of working so much. And then also sacrificing Netflix and getting up earlier to do my work.
Awesome. A routine really just does make a huge difference. That's awesome. Thank you, Courtney. So we'll go to Sandy and then Brandon next.
Of course, I have unstable internet, so I hope it holds up. Thank you, Arnold, for taking the time for this call. This is awesome. So I hate to say that, like, be that person who drops a financial bomb. Thank you, Carly, for doing it first. But for me, $1,000 a week consistent income would give me my massive goal, which would be financial freedom. Saying it makes me emotional because it's so far. Like, I know to get there, I'd be looking at a big goal of a 5-star diamond. And I feel like a consistent way I already sacrifice is early mornings and pockets of my time. And that's why I've hit 1 star and been able to walk the stage. And I hope to just keep that momentum.
That's outstanding. Thank you, Sandy. We captured about 99%, of what you said, and I want to commend you for that. And sharing it sometimes it's scary, but you have to. You have I'm listening to John Assaraf. John Assaraf. He was if you guys have watched the movie The Secret, he was one of the speakers on The Secret, and he talks about conditioning your mind and repeating that. Conditioning your mind to really think, in a singular way, on that one goal. Sandy, I love that you have a number in place, because then now as you work, you're getting close to that number, and it's going to be this and this and this, but over time, you're going to see yourself get there. And quite frankly, there's multiple people that I've seen get there, and you have the quality, the work ethic, the story, and the reason why to make it happen, Sandy. So love hearing that. Okay, let's go to Brandon, and then we'll go to Amy after that.
Yeah. Okay. I think mine is financial freedom as well. Whether that's through Beachbody or real estate as well. But I think financial freedom is huge, and being able to wake up and do something that you're excited about every day. And I think the sacrifice that you need to make is being comfortable. I think anytime we're comfortable, we're not living to our potential. We're not growing anymore. And I think being able to give up that comfortable feeling is everything. And I think that's what gets you to the next stage. And I think that's what life's all about. So for me, that's what I'm willing to sacrifice, is being comfortable.
Outstanding. Now, and I love that, Brandon. You talked about financial independence. Have you heard of the concept of the freedom number?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've just finished. Well, not just finished reading, but I've read. What was it? Unleashed. That new Tony Robbins book with where he talks about finding out your number and what that means, and all the things that you want to have in your life and what they're actually going to cost. And yes. Yeah, is that what you're referring to? I think that's
it, because a lot of people just think of financial freedom like, millions sitting in the bank. Well, no, if you produce enough residual income to cover your basic needs, cover that, you've hit your freedom number, and everything above that is gravy, basically.
Yeah. I heard, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and there was this guy, I can't remember his name, but he said, retirement is a financial number, not an age. And I thought that was such a great quote that a lot of people, outside of the entrepreneurial world, don't really think about that much, right? You think about freedom 55 or 65, pensions kicking in, but to me, it's about creating that number where, and not that you don't want to work, but that you can wake up and just do the things you want to do, work on the projects you want to do, help people, contribute, however you want to live your life. Absolutely.
Love that. Thank you, Brandon. And you guys form a power couple. So you've got enough accountability at home. So
yeah, she keeps me honest.
Yeah. All right. We will go to Amy and then Ash after that.
My big, super uncomfortable goal, I guess, would just be paying off my student loans and being consistent enough to be in a place where I can achieve that. To get there, like right now, I know I'm not in a consistent enough spot to achieve that goal. So for me, it's just stepping outside of that comfort zone, like everyone else has kind of said, and just pushing yourself to be uncomfortable. There's no growth that happens in your comfort zone. So, just being uncomfortable and helping myself get there.
Make it happen. Awesome. We'll go to Ash. We're racing against time now. So let's go to Ash, hear from Ash, and then Stacy.
I'm brand new at coaching, like 3 days into coaching. So my short-term goal is just to get 2 challengers by the end of the month. But my overall goal is to not have to pick up as much overtime, because I'm also an RN to afford trips and things like that. And I've started giving up my binge watching of Netflix to start working on this stuff.
Gets all of us, doesn't it? Awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go to Stacy, and then we'll finish with Rosha. All right. Go,
okay. Hello. My goals are to hit diamond and to continue with that. And I'm currently 5 or Success Club 5 or 6 All-Star. So I'd like to bump that up to 10.
Outstanding. Okay. Take us home. Yes. It's your turn.
I'd like to go for diamond. That's my goal. And I turn 50 next year, so my goal is to be in the best shape ever and be diamond and help others set some good goals. My big